All adjustments are to death. People don't like that. I used to teach it that way. I gave up trying to teach that. We used to teach don't adjust. Stop making demands on your change of your environment. I didn't mean to do that to you. Your determination to identify yourself in environment is what's keeping here. Every time you feel uncomfortable, you correct it. It never stops. That ends up with the teaching of sacrifice, or I better stay uncomfortable because I feel it, and that's not what I mean. Do you see? Obviously, everything you do is nothing but an adjustment to hold your mind in your own limited associations. That not incidentally includes I am hot, I am cold, I am passionate, I hate, I love, and everything that you do. I'm teaching you not to adjust. I can't demonstrate it to you because it's not demonstratable. It's in your own mind. Okay? I don't identify with my body. And sometimes the people will say to me, you've been standing up for 6 hours, you better sit down. All right? Because it really doesn't occur to me. You know, that kind of says it's too hot in here, and I go, wow, is it ever hot in here? Now, at that point, if I want to adjust to it, I'm perfectly able to adjust to it. Okay? It's too late for me to make the assertion. I thought of it. Okay? Thinking it's too hot is the same as the adjustment. Can you hear it if I teach it that way? Your mind is so caught in your own, sitting on your own butt on a chair in a body that I'm getting hungry, what time is lunch? See, this is all you're doing in time, constantly. I'm telling you it's nothing. You don't want to make the dedication to this, get out of here. I'm trying to show you that this is the time that you did it. You keep falling back into time by your determination to identify yourself with it. This is much too tough a teaching for you. I can't help it. It's true. Your perceptual mind holds you in the bondage, doesn't it? Well, don't we need to be Marthas some of the time? Should we just be Marys all the time? See, when Martha's in the kitchen making lunch for the disciples, and Mary, the sister, is in there, worshiping God, truth, Okay, Martha says, hey, why don't you come out here and help me with these good works on everything I'm doing? Well, Jesus says, leave her alone. Why? Because she's undergoing a transformation of her mind, which is a necessity. It's the old teaching, good works will avail you nothing, because you have placed a limited definition on yourself on what constitutes good. Okay. Now, obviously, then the good works will avail you nothing because they are definitions of spiritual pride or reassociations with your determination to define what salvation is, aren't they? All right. Will good works avail you? Totally. I'll tell you, do only good works. What are works? Giving. Give totally. I just read you. That's the honor of the work of your mind. It's that you define the works that holds you in the bondage. Do I work? That's all I do. This is the working of the miracle, isn't it? People like to break it down and they'll say, well, we've got to worship God. Well, worship Him totally and you'll work the miracle of the good works. Or what? You won't be here. If you're here, you must work the miracle of your whole mind, because if you're here, you are by definition a savior of the world, aren't you? You constructed the world. You're here, you have what? Assumed the burden of the world. Yes. Come to me, ye who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest, because I know this isn't real. If you'll trust me completely, my burden is light. Do you hear me? What you guys try to do as unhealed healers, bless your hearts, you take on all the burdens of the world and die with them, because you attempt to heal them in your limited associations. You love them, you want to do something about it, and you finally just die in the attempt. I'm showing you that you can take on the burdens of the world and release them through the release of your necessity to identify them and their limitation. By the declaration of your miracle mind that they are in fact whole because your mind is whole. Okay? That's a miracle mind. Not defining the sickness out there and then trying to take on the burden of it. You can do that, and it'll get very burdensome to you, but finally what you're doing is serving man rather than God. You are determined in your perceptual mind that you can alleviate the pain that is apparently outside of you without the admission that you are the cause of the pain. Yes. And if you are the cause of the pain, it cannot be alleviated by changing the effects. You must change the cause of it in your own mind, and that's a service to God, not to man. Yes. And Jesus, when he defines empathy, says, you don't know what empathy is. Empathy is a total recognition of our godliness, not an association of a falsity and an attempt to heal the sick through your own sick mind. Do you feel the pain of your brother? You must feel the pain of your brother in order to be a savior. The necessity for saviorship is to feel your brother's pain totally. That's a fact. As long as you reject your brother's pain from you, you can't feel the pain of your own mind. This is my direct teaching to you, is that I can't stand this place. I could not stand not being able to heal the pain of my brother. Come on, you healers. Everybody comes into your office for treatment. All of this dedication that you have been an attempt to help this situation come to a truth, to a harmony, because you love them. I'm telling you that love is total. And if you'll recognize that you are the cause of this, it'll bring about a healing in your own mind that will heal your associations. This cannot not be so. Okay? Am I doing it from Revelation? If you can't tell I'm doing this from Revelation, go away. I mean, you've been going away from this for so long. Finally, I'm declaring to you that this is a funnel of light that has come into the apparent schism association in your own dream, telling you that you can escape your dream. How could you not do it? Did you see the consciousnesses get up here and walk out of here when I began? You see how fearful that was to them? How many more are going to be afraid to do this? Do you see what's happened? You're so identified with your own fear that if you really want to look at it, you're afraid of this message. Why? The things you love must die. Yes. The things you love must associate with you in fear, because you have created them to establish your reality based on temporal time. This is a threat to you. It's the only threat you have. Fear of God. Isn't that silly? Don't be afraid. Where's the miracle? Right here. When's it going on? Right now. Who is going to work it? You are. How are you going to do it? You'll notice that the 50 concepts of the miracles were the 5 W's, and the H, or how, will be what I read you. When we did this, we took the perceptual mind, which is who, what, where, when, and why. Okay. If you add the H, which is the how, that becomes the text in the workbook. Who, what, where, when, why. That's why I took 50 concepts to do this for you. When you go back and do the concepts, you'll see that it contains all of these elements. Who is it that has to do it? Why do you have to do it? When will you do it? Okay? And why? They'll all be there. Now, did that help you define in your own mind what a miracle is? I don't know. See? But this is a course in what? The enlightenment of you. This is a course of the necessity of the maturing of a limited association through a evolutionary or revolutionary process in time to a recognition that you are whole mind in God. I'm not concerned with the vernacular. I'm not concerned with how you teach it, but very obviously, okay, there is something at a border of time, okay, the borderland, just out of time, called Jesus Christ of Nazareth, that is here and out of time, that has directed you in your own dream to do this. Now, if that takes a little faith and acceptance, that what have you got to lose? Do you have to run out now and say, Jesus Christ is new scripture and has taught me this and I'm going to... No, you don't have to do it. But I would suggest somewhere within you now, utilizing this energy, you begin to read this from the source that it's coming from. If you'll do that, you will begin to undergo the miracle change of your own mind. Will it be conflictual? To the extent it need be conflictual, it will be, because your mind is fundamentally in conflict. All I'm directing you to is to undergo whatever conflict is necessary for you to come to this truth. I'm trying to take sacrifice out of it, because sacrifice doesn't work. You have a tendency to lean on sacrifice. Okay? When I told you a couple thousand years ago, blessed are you who are persecuted in my name, you took that as a means to hold on to your limited identity. So we sort of took that out of this. But I understand you may experience this in sacrifice. Why? All lack is sacrifice. You are defined as a sacrifice. The first covenant, the idea of cause and effect, is a sacrificial association with limitation, isn't it? The new covenant of Jesus Christ is the teaching only of love, and that reciprocity or exchange or limitation is impossible. We had to have the first covenant, or the idea of self-identity, in order to pass from that to the reality of your mind. You see that? That's the new covenant of Jesus Christ. That's simple. Not an eye for an eye, but a statement of give to your brother wholly. Not an exchange of any sort in your own mind. Not the Old Testament. The New Testament. Is the Old Testament necessary to this? Of course. Otherwise, how do you know you have a problem? You need to know you have a conflict in your own mind in that moment of time when you came to the truth. Yes. And that's what's happening to you. We're going to have just a little quiet time now before lunch, okay? I don't know what arrangements are made for lunch. The less you eat, the better. And just eat real lightly and stay in this nice energy. This afternoon, we're going to do a little more of Chapter 1, and there's some healing necessities for you individually that you might want to look at in this new frame of reference that you've entered into. Okay, so you can go through this experience, and that will become an important part of it. Maybe. You keep doing what you did last night, you got a shot at this. See, listen to me, you guys aren't equal in time. Yes, dear. See? You're all undergoing your own atonement. This is what I call purification. We used to call it burning the dross in the old days. I'm trying to bury you alive so you'll undergo a death experience. We used to try to do this too, didn't we? Whenever I get a direct direction to your mind, you use it because you're directing me what to do. And when I make a direct contact with you, boy, you take it seriously, because I don't do it very often. But I see that you're not equal in time, see? And we're holding this segment for you. But the decision to come into it has to be the workings of your own perceptual mind. Do you see? No one else can do it for you. You too. You're very capable of doing this. You're doing clairvoyance, you've got witchery, you got all sorts of associations of the power of your mind. They won't serve you anything as long as you limit your own associations. Use the power of your mind in the declaration of your wholeness, and the result will be wholeness. If you use it in the magic of your mind, which a lot of you guys are doing, the result can only be what you direct it to be. There's a lovely sentence in the Course where it says, literally, the result cannot exceed the perceptual thought about it. Why? They're together. That's why the moment that you change your mind about yourself, the result changes. Totally. See? Don't judge your brother in this regard. You'll be wrong. This condition is total ultra-personal psychology. It has absolutely nothing to do with transpersonal. Nothing transpersonal about it. There's no such thing as trans. Except to yourself. Now, the idea that you have to underdo this alone may cause you a little fear and pain at first, but remember, you've always been alone and you know it. This is what's caused all your loneliness, all of your fear. All of that has been what? Your inability to communicate. I'm telling you that communication is impossible because you've designed your mind not to communicate. And you're basing your reality on your determination not to. Yes. How can you then do it? That's what perception is. Objective reality. Different thoughts. Something outside of my mind. A different thing thinking differently than I am. That's crazy. That's craziness. That's not so. That consciousness is only what I think it is. Does Alden enter into a relationship with me? Yeah, Alden's got a little blue light right here. Does he see that sometimes? Will he come into that new association? Sure. Do you all come into this association with me? Sure. When did you do it? Now. You say, oh, to hell with you, I'm going to go away and I'm not going to do this. That's funny to me. Where are you going to go? You're not real. You forgot that I just told you you're not real to me. You're insisting that I give you reality so you identify me. You're not real to me. You can't go away. You have nowhere to go. You are the unknowing coming to the knowing. Whenever you do that, will be now. Do you think that there's an earth when I leave here? That's nonsense. I mean, there's no possibility that this will be here when I'm gone. I know that you somehow like a dead savior, okay? The stuff that I just read, which is real nice stuff, okay? Some of you can hardly wait till I can die so you can say, wow, was that ever good? Look, too bad he's not here anymore. We had a lot to learn from him. All you're doing is associating life with death, okay? That's not so. Jesus Christ, the living Son of God, is here or he's nowhere. He is not coming back from the dead. I'm not come back from the dead. I'm telling you there is no death. You got it. You look lovely.
Yes, indeed. You look lovely. So, good morning. Welcome to the Miracle Mind. We started off with listening to Master Teacher, becoming completely part of his expose here, which is alive, as always. It's like it's alive. It has nothing to do with time restriction, time limitation, or any of that. That's so great. So consider yourself a whole part of what is occurring, and you're going to have a blast of an experience. It's really like that. So continuing, and it's I really love to continue with, say, also the manual for teachers, but also dissecting, almost like this, dissecting a talk that we listened to, say, a couple of, maybe a week ago or something. I don't know exactly. But see, we actually use this to come to an answer. The answer is going to be revealed. What is A Course in Miracles really? What is it really? It has nothing to do with the book. It has nothing to do with your ideas about it. But what is it really? So this will lead up to the revelation of what it is. But you don't know what that means. So that's the great thing, and that is exciting, and that is like you have no idea, which is great. Yeah, so we follow the steps. Like I said, we do 3 lines of remembrance, you could say, using 3 layers, another way of saying it, like using 3 layers to go into the depth of ourselves. Since this is an individual experience, it's not we are doing this. No, it's like your personal invitation to ultra personal invitation to go deep into this. And we use 3 layers of that. Layers to be helping you to unveil what is A Course in Miracles. And one of them is the Urtext. We use the manual for teachers, like A Course in Miracles, but we used a variety of the urtext. Manual for teachers. What are the characteristics of God's teachers? So we just made a start with trust. We continue with the idea of trust. Then, of course, what we just did is listen to Master Teacher, bringing in a purity of light and recognition, putting you right on the edge, you could say, putting you right in the place where something can happen. Now and he's, in fact, connecting with the recognition of your human tendency to ignore this, or to wash it away, or to say like, well, that's not for me now. Like he knows what he's dealing with in that sense. He brings that human resistance to actually hearing truth. He brings it in and gives you another look at it, in order to see how you can be fooling yourself if you think you are separate from this, or say like, well, I don't like A Course in Miracles, or I don't know, that's not for me, or who knows what your idea might be. Like, you can easily come up with defenses. No, Master Teacher is like a master in recognizing the defenses against the truth, and he can verbalize it, make it visible for you how that actually is working in you. Yeah, and then we have the third part, is then we take another look at a previous talk that we listened to, so that somewhere already in you, you have this recognition, but now we're going to bring it back in again, and slowly but certainly go through this. It's like, don't miss this. This is what it says. Listen, yeah, it's right here. Wow. Huh. This just to, in fact, slow everything down so much and make your mind open so much that it becomes so easy to in fact, receive this as a recognition of that it was already always there. Now, this is the healing procedure that is given me to do it like this, and I'm seeing the beauty of it. So, join in. It's what you already did, otherwise you would not be here. It's like you joined in. Yeah, stay right here. So, we're going to read from the Manual for Teachers, the part of, we continue on the idea of the characteristics of God's teachers, the part trust. Okay, so here we go. So we left off with the, what are the characteristics, and then the idea of trust. And then you see some phases where you go through in order to receive what is given. And one of them being this, it's like you must go through a period of undoing. So you're actually taking a look at what is occurring, what is going on, like this, like what is going on, what is actually valuable, what doesn't have any value, what was I thinking so far, like what was going on, and how did I get into the individual story that I find myself in. So do I want to hold on and keep doing the same thing, or am I going to let go of things, or let go of habits, or let go of ideas that I treasured for a moment? And so you're sorting out, you could say. Well, it's really more like a period of undoing is what it says here. So I'm reading it from M5B3. First, they must go through what might be called a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it is usually so experienced, because you're really thinking that you're losing something, that what you've identified with suddenly doesn't seem that normal anymore. It seems as if things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially what their lack of value is merely being recognized. See, their lack of value is merely being recognized. I've been doing that, but why did I do that? I don't have to do that anymore. Being nice to everyone, or who knows what you're thinking, like pleasing everyone. Why would I want to keep doing that? That has no value. There's nothing to be pleased, just as an example. So how can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see in a different light? He is not yet at the point at which he can make the shift entirely internally. And so the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. Yeah, that can be a shift in relationships, that can be a shift in even living. It's like, how are you living? In what place are you living? That might change too. Or you suddenly meet different people. You suddenly find yourself in an online, say, miracle mind possibility that you had no idea that you would ever going to be part of. These changes are always helpful. When the teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the second stage. So that's M5B4. Next, the teacher of God must go through a period of sorting out. This is always somewhat difficult, having learned, so go on top of that, having learned that the changes in his life are always helpful, he must now decide all things on the basis of whether they increase the helpfulness or hamper it. He will find that many, if not most, of the things he valued before will merely hinder his ability to transfer what he has learned to new situations as they arise, because he has valued what is really valueless. He will not generalize the lesson for fear of loss and sacrifice. It takes great learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. It takes great learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. Right. It takes great learning. You're going to be busy with this for a moment to recognize it, to see that all things, all encounters, all events, all circumstances are actually helpful. It is only to the extent to which they are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. Like value has only to do with the degree of reality. Okay, so the third stage. So that was the second. The second we characterize as a period of sorting out. Third stage, through which the teacher of God must go, can be called a period of relinquishment. If this is interpreted as giving up the desirable, it will engender enormous conflict. Few teachers of God escape this distress entirely. There is, however, no point in sorting out the valuable from the valueless until the next obvious step is taken. The third step is rarely, if ever, begun until the second is complete. Therefore, the period of overlap is apt to be one in which the teacher of God feels called upon to sacrifice his own best interests on behalf of truth. He has not realized as yet how wholly impossible such a demand would be. He can learn this only as he actually does give up the valueless. Through this, he learns that where he anticipated grief, he finds a happy light-heartedness instead. Where he thought something was asked of him, he finds a gift bestowed on him. So this is interesting. So it's like you thought that if you would step into that pain or step into the fear that you would lose something. And actually the thing that's occurring in the third stage, like you discover, oh my God, it's actually helpful. It's actually, it brings me light. The last thing I expected is happening. So it's like that stage, say the second phase where you go through. There will be more. So we continue next time with more. I'm not saying too much about this because it's just like we read this. Okay, you might recognize it immediately, or you go read it again. You can get the PDF of the urtext, or you can buy the book, whatever you like. Just let me know. And see, you can read this again, and in the blue book it is too. So it's not like the urtext has to be it. No, it is like in the blue book there's sufficient information in the manual for teachers that will tell you the same of these phases. So that's really lovely. It's like it's essential to take a look at it just for your own recognition of, oh yeah, this is going on. See, you see that we use the, say, information from outside of this frame. It is working you, but by, say, reading the textbook or reading the manual for teachers, you actually get an idea what is happening to you. It is happening to you. It's not you doing it. No, it's happening to you. And this is really lovely. Now, okay, so going back to a talk that we listened to some time ago, we're going to continue with, say, dissecting it, I could say. It's like not analyzing it, but really taking a good look at it and not missing any gems that are hidden in it. And so one of them being this, and this might, say, cause also great recognition. And also there's a comfort in it. So the title of today is kind of interesting. I love you totally. I love you totally. We come back to that in a moment. So here's one thing that I say, like, hey, yeah, this is great to read this. It is one of the references in the text that we just read, in fact, in the teacher's manual. So one of the references is John 15:19. If you were of the world, right? If you were of the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Because in fact you're not playing the game that is being played in this world. Now, I don't want you to hear this as that you separate yourself off, dissociate yourself from the world, but I do ask you, John does ask you here to recognize that you dissociate from the world beliefs. See, here it's just only, in fact, and this is shared for the recognition that you were chosen out of the world, and recognizing that where you were looking for in this world will never happen. If you look for love and comfort in this world, you can look for a very long time, but it's not there. Now, when you when you recognize this, what is being shared, when you recognize that, then you also see, like, there is no world outside of my own thinking. So what is my function in here? I've been chosen out of the world. Like, I hear what is being given me. Like, I hear that there's something else going on. I have my specific function in it, you could say. I'm a very specific function. And I recognize, like we did the last time, like I recognize I'm the cause of this. I'm doing this to myself. This world is a reflection of what I'm thinking. But I go say, now this continues a little bit further. And that is, I take responsibility for this world. Is the world going to like me because of that? We'll see. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. So you, in fact, dissociate yourself from the response that the world can give you, and come to the recognition that you're bringing, say, the light into this world. You're actually the savior of this world. It's a big word, but it's like this is the actual occurrence. You are the savior of this world. Is the world going to love you for that? No, of course not, because you actually point out where the conflict lies, like where you have believed this world is going to give you something, and giving that idea up, like especially what we just read in the manual for teachers, like you are sorting out. It's a moment of, say, unsettlement, a moment of relinquishment. The world beliefs are going like, yeah, you're breaking the bonds of humanhood, as Joel would say. Like you break the bonds of humanhood. You're actually breaking that. Now, if that would be, if the world would be, this is where we come to, it's like, if the world would be the representation of divine love, it would recognize itself. It would be one party. It would be one sonship. It would be incredible, say, unity. Is that what is occurring if you come from, say, your purity of recognition into this world? I can tell you, my experience is different. Don't get me started. Oh wow, don't get me started. It's like, don't get me started. So I know, like from my very first moment, I received, say, beyond my own fear. I suddenly received the wholeness of mind for an instant, for some time, starting to share that, bringing that into my dream, you could say, into my world. I was fully, like, totally attacked. There was no recognition of the truth about that. The world has nothing to do with that. So I was fully, frontally attacked, physically, mentally, whatever way, socially, totally attacked, just by recognizing there's no opposite to love. The light is all there is. I've seen that light is all there is. I experienced that light is all there is. There's no opposite to love. What we said the other day too is like, when you are afraid, you're non-existent. There is no opposite to love. There is no such thing as fear, you could say. Not that I have to deny it in myself, but I can see that when I'm fearful, I'm literally non-existent. I create situations that are non-existent, and I receive the results of that. So coming into this with this clarity, with this light, bringing that into this world. See, if the world was a place of love, it would recognize itself. This was what I was saying just a moment ago. Then there would be no problem. Everyone would celebrate and add a joy to what is being received. Is this world a place of love? No, it has nothing to do with it. Okay. Were you chosen to bring this light into this world? Yes. Are you a teacher of God by doing so? Yeah, absolutely. So are you, say, where's your safety? Well, not in this world. Does it matter what happens in this world? No, it doesn't really matter. So does it matter what you give to this world? Yes, absolutely. So it's great to read the Bible, because you read more and more things that you start to recognize that, yeah, that's actually what's occurring. Or who knows? So in the talk of Master Teacher, which is still the same talk, like what we listened to today is like after 1.5 hours of session with Master Teacher, and this what we read now today is probably after 3/4 of an hour. So we're actually heading into the miracles, miracle principles. Principles of miracles. Notice that it is all plural. It's miracles. It's not miracle, it's miracles. Miracles is plural. Notice that it says that you must identify the power of your own mind with the capacity, as I just read you here, that everything is contained within your own mind and you have all power. We cannot teach you this by degrading your mind processes. You will not accept it. You cannot accept it because you are you. So this is why there are such things as miracle principles. Like, you have to recognize that you have to step out of the way. It's like recognizing, it's in fact like you recognize the impossibility of you as a fearful, identified, worldly character. You have to get out of the way in order to experience this power. We saw that the last time. It's like, in order for you to experience this power of mind, you have to step out of you. So step out of your ideas about yourself, so the power can actually flow through you. You cannot accept this because you are you. You are you in your own definition of yourself. And this goes a little bit further to say, like, you have to die daily in order to perform miracles, is getting out of the way so the miracle can take place. The principles of miracles will even contain the allowance for your working magic, won't it? It is going to say that you can take the power of your mind and direct it to momentary and temporal reassociations of your definitions of your own associate visions, that you can cause the elimination of a tumor in a consciousness, that you can teach the lame to walk. It's like, that would be working magic. Working magic is like looking for a three-dimensional expression of the miracle, whether that is having a cancer disappear or a tumor disappear, whether say the lame can walk again. It's like, that is not what a miracle is. It is working magic in that sense. It is working magic, looking for a three-dimensional result of the miracle. But we come to that in the manual for teachers too. Of course you can do that, but if you do that within a limited temporal association of mind, the miracle cannot exceed the direction of your purpose of it. So in fact you are limiting it by thinking that you need to see a three-dimensional result of it. Do you see that? We're going to teach you to whole-mindedness, so that you see the miracle is only your whole mind coming to the truth by denying your three-dimensional perceptions or the use of magic in your own mind, which is what you do. Like, you want to see that it's working, you want proof of it, visual proof of that miracles are working. And that would be a reference to magic, not miracles, magic. Okay, so here's the first miracle principle. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than another. They're all the same. All expressions of love are maximal. All expressions of love are maximal. And a miracle is an expression of love. Does it have to do with magic? No, not at all. Does it have to do with a three-dimensional idea of love? No, not at all. A miracle is looking at your brother for just a moment and saying, I love you totally. Well, what happened when I said I loved you totally? I forgot to judge you. I didn't add something on like this. Because of this, I love you. No, not at all. I love you totally. For no reason, you could say. Not for anything particular. I love you totally. I release my my mind in an unconditional association with you to allow the miracle to occur. This is A Course in Miracles, for goodness sake. So it's like, I love you totally. Did I have to do something for that? Yeah, give up my judgment about you. So in one moment, I'm actually meeting you here. I love you for no other reason. I love you totally, with no limitation on conditions. Like, I love you when you behave like this. I love you when you look like that. I love you if you can tell me funny jokes. I love you for who knows what. It's like, now all of that, all the specialization in reasons to love, say, dissolve right here. In order for this love to be total, a total love makes no demands, you could say. A total love is not restricting. A total love will not limit. A total love is not possessive. It doesn't want it to have. No, it is it, and it cannot lose it. It makes no demands. It doesn't want to possess. It doesn't, well, you know the whole shebang. You already know this. So all the things that you normally do as a human being, where you say, I love you, has nothing to do with love. Because you say, oh, I love you. You cooked such a nice meal for me. I love you. Or you look so beautiful. I love you. You're so funny. I love you. Like, no, all the reasons to love is in fact a denial of the totality. So I love you totally, for no reason. No conditions. No need to possess. Thank you very much. No. This is A Course in Miracles, for goodness sake. What happens? All expressions of love must be maximal. Why? God creating is what love is. You are a creator, aren't you? If you are going to create in perceptions, how will you do it? By seeing yourself wholly perceptual, by not denying your own creations, by not projecting from your mind and dissociating yourself from yourself? No, they are always maximal. All expressions of love must be maximal. It cannot be, I love you a little bit, or I love you quite a bit, or I quite love you. It's like, no, it is always maximal, or it isn't love. Is loving you totally a miracle? Yes, we saw this. Like, that's what the miracle is. That's what A Course in Miracles is. Loving your neighbor, not a little bit, no, wholly, totally, for no reason, with no desire, no restriction, no limitation, totally, maximal. Why? God creating is what love is. You are a creator, aren't you? If you are going to create in perceptions, how will you do it? By seeing yourself wholly perceptual, by not denying your own creations, by not projecting from your own mind and dissociating yourself from yourself. They are always maximal. So all expressions of love must be maximal. God creating is what love is. See, now here we just got some of the expressions, but I love it because it takes away the idea that there could be a limitation on loving, and that would be a denial of what love is. Now, this is great to practice with. Like all the situations that you're in and where you experience conflict while you think you're actually loving, you have to take another look at it. It's like, well, apparently that's not what is occurring. Because if I give totally without expecting anything, without having an exchange going on, it's like I do something for you, now you do something for me, which is very common in a human relationship, is leading to conflict. Because it is not really truly what creating is. It is making a law. You do something for me, I do something for you. Now we have a mutual agreement But that's not what love is. It's a mutual agreement. That has nothing to do with love. So, yeah, this is practice. This is truly a miracle. It's like literally you can't do it. Look at when you say to someone, I love you, what happens to you? Like, what do you take with you in that expression? What, say, book of law is included in it? What restrictions are you giving when you are actually expressing that? So this is, yeah, very basic, you could say. It's very basic what we share here. It is the beginning of the miracle principles. There will be more. We go through like 50 of them, probably. It's like, and they all will tell you the same. I'm going to read some more if we have time. Yeah, we have time. So I'll read some more. See where my miracle principle book is, like where Miracle Healer's Handbook has all of them too. So I read some more. Oh yeah, here is the first one. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. Not one is harder or bigger than another. They're all the same. All expressions of love are maximal. Like the differentiating between, say, it's harder to heal a cold than a cancer, you could say, or however you want to express it. Like the idea of order of difficulty is very common in the human thinking. Now here is like, no, this is all the same. All expressions of love are maximal. So in the manual for teachers, we were reading too about sorting out, like, oh yeah, this is not valuable, that is valuable, that belongs to truth, that does not belong to truth. No. You see all this sorting out that you do in your process, say, in becoming, say, the pure teacher that you are. This sorting out, you'll see it becomes a meaningless activity too in the end. Like, no, all expressions of love are maximal. So hearing that and accepting it and actually demonstrating it is what speeds up the process for you, or speeds up time for everyone, because you're not confused about that. You can stay right there. Like it is staying in the moment of there is no future time, or there's no past to relate to in having love being expressed as total. So it's not limited by anything in time. It is not ruled by time in any way. No, it reorganizes time completely and brings it in the right order. That's why it's a miracle. Can you do that? No, you can't. It's not by your doing. So can you receive it? Yes, absolutely. It is your gift to yourself and to your brother. How do you do it? Loving your neighbor, loving your brother completely, totally, without any restriction. With not having any kind of hesitation or any kind of, well, this and that are not included. No, this is total. That is total. So that's so lovely. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. All miracles mean life, and God is the giver of life. His voice will direct you very specifically. You will be told all you need to know. Wow, that is such, see, it's also totally comforting. All miracles mean life. God is the giver of life. His voice will direct you very specifically in what to do, what not to do, instruction in what to share, what not to share. You will be told all you need to know. So, and that is always in the moment. When you need to have that information, it will be given. When you need to express yourself in a certain way, that will be given. You know, it's like that doesn't depend on anything that's given, so to speak, by the world. No, this is the flow of God through you in, say, opening up your miracle mind and getting out of the way of what you think is necessary in the moment. Boom. Open. Is everyone going to like it that you do that? Oh, probably not. Are you going to be attacked for it? Who knows? Could be. Are people walking away when you do this? Yeah, could very well be. Does it matter? No, not at all. Are you still loving them totally? Yes. See, the funny part in the talk that we listened to from Master Teacher was here too. It's like, I don't really like this guy. I don't really want to listen to him any longer. So now you walk out of the room and Master Teacher laughs and says, where do you think you're going? You think you didn't hear this? You think you're not part of this? You think that you can do this another time? Go ahead. So that's the uncompromising part of it. Like, it's totally uncompromising. There's no escape. You're in it. You're part of it. And that's not like a kidnap of you or something. It's like, no, no. No, it's inevitable that you become the one that you are, because you already are that. So there is nothing being taken away, or there's nothing being forced upon you. No, what you've forced upon yourself has no reality. That's all. When you are fearful, you're non-existent. Are you experiencing fear? Are you experiencing pain? Are you experiencing lack and limitation? Well, you might as well listen then. You might as well listen to what is actually being shared here, because it's going to be your way out. It's like A Course in Miracles. It's a required course. It's not because I tell you that, but because it is. It's a required course. How can you say lose the bondage of space and time when you don't go through this process? It's inevitable that you go through this process of relinquishment, of unsettling, of having all these processes going on in you, in order to come to the recognition that you are love, you are being loved totally. Your total comfort and safety lies in the recognition of your true relationship. An all-loving God, with no exception, with no force, with no possessiveness. In complete freedom, you find your own freedom. And this is how I love you totally, with no small print, no restriction, with no limitation of any kind, but with a pure recognition of who it is I love. So thank you so much for listening to this and being a complete part of it. Like, sorry, it is not another way. So thank you for that, and I see you before you know it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Merci.